Welcome, really. Welcome back to Maniacal Music Musings. I'm your host, Jeremy, here with some cake and sodomy for all the digital warriors. I'm so tired today, but I'm not a ruiner, and I do not want this to turn to a show of snake eyes and sissies, so I'm here wrapped in plastic and ready to go. That sounded way less dirty when I wrote it. My co host, however, though, is Mr. Self Destruct on a daily basis with criminal intents. It was his dogma to be a 21st century slave for all the megacorps out there, but he was told by the overlords to get your gun and dope hat and get back on the street. So he heard his reptile overlords until he declared that life heresy. It's today that he grabs his organ grinder and dances on the street closer to my monkey every day. CJ motherfucking playing the music god, everybody.
Neil.
Uh, fucking
I'm
A.
My mouth is hurting.
I figured. It's so some weeks you have really good song choices to write intros to, and this is one of those weeks. What can I say? But folks, we are back once again with a guest I've been looking forward to for a long time, actually, because, well, folks, let me introduce Jeremy Norrie, director, producer. How you doing tonight? And such a great name too. How you doing tonight, Jeremy?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. As soon as I saw your picture on Podmatch, I was like, oh, I have to get him on the show. I'm like, not only does he have the same name as me, which is just fate, but his profile picture is with Jay and Silent motherfucking Bob. So I'm like, he's a director, and he obviously has met Kevin Smith. I'm like, this is a story I need to hear, so I need to get him on the show.
Sure, it looks more interesting than it was. Actually, I have a friend who is working with Kevin, and he kind of called me in, and we took that picture. It was not really a big deal. He does a lot of camera work, and so his photographs are really amazing looking. And so that particular photo, a lot of people like it, and I'm a big Kevin Smith fan. Especially being a filmmaker, all the stuff that he's done as an independent filmmaker deserves all the respect. And I actually did enter a Kevin Smith film festival, and one of my films about cannabis is was accepted out of thousands of films that he showed in his festival. So I was real honored to be a part of that.
I was gonna say, 'cause I know you were formerly in the cannabis industry too, so I'm like, that's another thing Kevin Smith must love you for. So
Yeah, that's kind of how that picture happened. So I have a little bit of notoriety in the cannabis industry, and one of my friends is a photographer in the cannabis industry, and we were at a festival, and Kevin Smith and uh, I'm blanking on his name, but
Jason,
Jay.
Jason
Jason
Mewes.
Mewes. Yeah, Jason Mewes. There you go. So Jason and Kevin were hired by one of the companies at the cannabis festival, and my friend was hired as their photographer. And so he was going around taking pictures and doing all that kind of stuff. And he introduced me to them as a cannabis personality, and so that we all took this picture. I'm sure they don't even remember.
I mean, well, Kevin's always so baked. I'm sure he doesn't. But ever since Zach and Mary make a porno, he's pretty much constantly baked. But uh can't
It
blame
was
him.
crazy to meet them. He's so much smaller than I imagined. And that can be a thing when you meet some of these celebrities in real life. They're a lot more like people than you would imagine.
Well, I mean, especially him.
Yeah.
And you actually, and you, and that picture actually looks like it was back during his chubbier days before he had the heart attack.
It was right after that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, so right at the beginning of his weight loss journey, when
Yeah.
he became a vegan and started liking to fast for 2 weeks at 3 weeks at a time, which can't I can't explain that. I you couldn't pay me to fast. You couldn't. You really
That's a
couldn't.
long time.
But
I've done
couldn't
some
pay me.
fasts. but 3 weeks is a long fast.
You kidding me? You used to have to fast for like 12, 13 hours for this church thing back in the day when I was a teenager, and that killed me. I couldn't imagine doing it for anywhere near that long. But
So I've made 3 movies about diet and nutrition, and there's
really,
something to sugar that makes us more hungry. So as you kind of get away from sugar and things that are sugar adjacent, you lose that hunger, that desire to eat that is so common in all of us. It happens to me even if I go back to eating for a little while, like the way I used to. But it's amazing how hunger you really can have a power over it if you control the way that you eat.
yeah, I've heard that before about sugar. I've heard that before. It makes sense, honestly. But folks, we're here to talk about music, not about dieting. Thank God, I would never want to do a dieting podcast. Just man, nah. I'm a fat boy at heart. I can never do that. I can never do that shit. But we're here to talk about music. So, well, I mean, as a director producer, I mean, music's important to you, I'm sure, because movies are nothing without music in them.
Oh,
So
of course. Yeah, music is a very important thing. And just in growing up in life, I think music is one of those things that all humans should appreciate in some form.
yeah, eh, maybe not, maybe not so much these days with the damn pop music in the last 20 years. But we're this is why we do this podcast to influence people to listen to good underground music that no one's ever heard of. So, but what album did? But speaking of good music from before 20 years ago, what album did you want to bring us there, Jeremy?
So I am a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. And this past year, they started touring again.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to bring Downward Spiral onto the show. One of my favorite albums, if not my favorite album.
Yeah, they are touring again. I a former guest of the show, who's another podcaster I'm friends with, actually, she's been she's been to 2 shows in the last year. I know because they're doing like a massive, massive tour where they're basically just circling. But
Yep, I went to one of the
um,
shows too.
it looks fun. Well, I guess I'll give my review first since my album's kind of closer to yours than the other one. I I said before in the show, I am I like Nine Inch Nails. I enjoy the hell out of them, but I am not the biggest Nine Inch Nails fan. I like the industrial rock, I really do, but they have too much buildup in all their music, and it's too like I don't need to hear 6 minutes of a song to get to 2 minutes of singing. Like, sorry, that's why I don't like fucking what's his name, Phil Collins. But I don't I don't need to hear the buildup. Like, I'm I was happy you brought this album though, because the only Nine Inch Nails album that ever got brought on was actually not even an album, an EP, a broken EP. Um, so I was kind of disappointed that she didn't bring Downward Spiral. So I was happy when you said you wanted to bring. I was like, yes, finally someone brings it to the show after 100 plus episodes. And I mean, Downward Spiral's always been a good album. I always enjoyed it. There are certain songs I like a lot more than others, but overall, it's always been a fun album. It's very anarchist, very rebellious in nature, and it's that '90s feel of like fight the machines, basically.
Oh,
Reminiscent of all those other bands that started in the mid '90s, and most of them are still going today. But CJ, what did you think about Downward Spiral?
Um, I have a very love-hate relationship with Trent. And Trent's one of them people who, when he's good, he's really good. But when he misses dramatically. Oh, excuse me. For example, Mr. Self-Destruct on this record, that drum track at 200 beats per minute while he's singing at like 80 beats per minute is annoying as hell. So, I mean, I don't listen to a lot of Nine Inch Nails, to be honest. I have a lot of respect for Trent for what he's done within the genre. Because it's a genre that I write a lot of music in. and I respect him a great deal, but I don't listen to him much just because not really a fan of his voice and a lot of the stuff he does. Um, so you know, I'm, I'm much more Cell Dweller Clayton fanatic than I am a Trent one. So that's kind of what I have for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's Trent. I don't know. I want to like him more than I like him. That's kind of always been the thing with Trent Reznor. Like, and plus, I'm getting to that more when I get to my album. Don't worry about that. But because I got some personal issues with him as well. But I mean, I don't know. I want to like him. I really do want to like Nine Inch Nails. I don't think I've ever listened to anything past like those two, the EP and the album. I haven't listened to anything they put out recently. I don't believe. I could be wrong about that, but I maybe they changed for a little bit better, or maybe they sound exactly the same, and it's gonna just piss me off. I don't know, but well, actually, you could tell me.
I wrote, I wrote a book based on this song "Sanctified." It's never been released, obviously, because of copyright issues. Um, but you know, that is one song I do. I know it's not on this record, but that's one
Mm,
song by Trent that I really do love. Has sort of a personal meaning to me. Um, but you know,
yeah. Well, what are your top 5 tracks off that album, Jeremy?
Okay, let me pull up my list here. Hold on.
It is so weird saying that name to somebody else.
Okay, so March of the Pigs, Heresy, Ruiner, The Becoming, and Reptile were my top 5. But I basically like every song on the album. And I even like the like interlude type tracks that aren't even real songs.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the album's a theme. Like the whole album's a theme. Like you're listening to it all the way through. Like those interludes actually have meaning and good points. It's not like a lot of bands where they just put like the random ass interludes in, which can be fun, but are otherwise meaningless.
And
But
I felt like this was like one of the first albums, if not the first album, where you started to see the signs of Trent, where he's like kind of expanding as a musician, where he's going to try and do more really odd creative stuff like that, where there's more of a storyline to all the tracks kind of working together into some of the songs. I'm not a fan of everything. I didn't really like The Fragile the first time I heard it, but some of those things have kind of grown on me over time. Downward Spiral and the previous albums are like some of my favorite music in general. I like all the weird stuff that doesn't match. I like all the uniqueness to how he kind of does all a lot of that stuff. And in as far as industrial, like I feel like he's probably the best at it. I've listened to a lot of underground industrial stuff and I like a lot of other industrial bands, but I've come full circle from like when I was younger thinking, oh, he's kind of like the mainstream industrial and like there's all this other stuff so much cooler in these other ways. But man, I like so many of his songs. It's just yeah, I've been very impressed with how far he's gone as a musician, and I always go back to loving these original things. Oh, you had asked about the new music. I'm not a super big fan of the new music. It's cool, but it's not like the old stuff that I love.
yeah, I mean, that's what I imagine it would be. Is he would change? I almost imagine him going more mainstream because that seems like something he would do, like trying to sound a little more mainstream to like keep the people and get
I
new
think
people
that's a
involved.
fair estimate. It does seem kind of more it's almost more electronic that direction versus how gritty and rocky it was. Like the concert, for example, he had two stages where one stage was kind of like the electronic stage, and then the other stage was like the band stage and with guitars. And man, that stage was rocking. And all those old tracks are like, they're so much different live. It really is cool.
That was something I was thinking. Is that I'm sure he's amazing to see him perform like Downward Spiral in full live. I'm sure it's an amazing show. It's
Yeah,
just it doesn't translate to the album. That's the problem. It doesn't translate to like listening to it with headphones on. But
Like I really like the first record. Um, you
the
know,
Pretty
it's
Hate Machine.
yeah, you know, I really like that one. But then he kind of got, I don't know, like
I like that album too.
he's hit or miss with me. Like I said, like I hear stuff that I really really like, and then I hear stuff that I never want to hear again. And it's pretty rare for me to hear a Trent song and just be like, it's okay. It's either I really really like it or I really never want to hear it
Sure,
again. You
sure.
know?
exact.
So
I
that's
mean,
why I
yeah.
said I have this sort of love hate thing with Trent, where you know.
Well, I will say I had two honorable mentions for this album because how could I not? But Mr. Self Destruct and Hurt are my honorable mentions. Mr. Self Destruct was a really fun way to open the album. I don't think I've even heard that before. It was a really fun way to open the album. And Hurt, I always like the song Hurt. I like a lot of rappers I listen to have redone Hurt in their own versions, and I like their versions more than I like Trent's. I've heard people say the same thing about Johnny Cash's version, which I'm not a huge fan of Johnny Cash's version, but um, I know they basically told him like that's your song. So, but like you could do it, it could be your song. Go play it. But I, I I like other people's version of that song a lot better. But my number five was Reptile. That's a really good song. I hate the build up. The playoff at the end of it, the playoff in the last 2 minutes, minute and a half, that are freaking amazing, and it's worth the wait in a way. But I also don't want to wait for it. I'm like, I don't want to sit here for 6 minutes and listen to somebody slowly strum a guitar and play a drum every couple seconds. Like, no. My number four was I Do Not Want This, which I feel like in the last 22 years has become like the for all like the female fan SA anthem. I really feel like it has become that. But the percussion in that song is so incredible. I can't get over the percussion in that song. The guitar's slightly annoying in that song, honestly, but the percussion is so freaking amazing. It makes up for it. My number three was Ruiner. That was a new song to me as well, I think, and that's a really fun song. My number two was Hearsay, and I love the lyrics. God is dead, no one cares. If there's a hell, I'll see you there. Like I love the freaking lyrics. Like that's to me,
Yeah.
that's that industrial grunge. That's that anarchy spirit. I freaking love that. But the number one, obviously, obviously, has to be the song that won a sex songs bracket on this show 2 years ago. Closer, closer, because it is one of those ultimate sex songs of the '90s to current, and it is just an amazing song. It was so unique for its time. Like there was nothing else like that song when it first came out. I remember hearing it as a kid for the first time, being like I never even knew what it was called. I thought it was called "Fuck Me Like an Animal" or "Fuck You Like an Animal." That's what I thought it was called. But it's a really good song. Like it's just so well done. Like you just sit there like nodding your head along with it the whole time because you're just like that. It's perfect. Everything about it is perfect. It's honestly my favorite Nine Inch Nails song, and nothing will ever replace it. Nothing will ever replace it. But it's the best. That's why I was so happy you brought this album because I'm like, yes, finally someone brought the album closer on it. But DJ, what are your top five songs?
Actually, I have two. I have Heresy and I really like Big Man with a Gun. It's just I know it's sort of a shorter song, but you know, I like the way he sings it. It's got like a different vibe and feel. So those are like the main two from the song. Closer's cool. It's or Closer's okay. It's a bit overplayed. Hurt sort of the same thing, you know.
Mm. Well, I mean, Hurt's been redone more than freaking a lot of movies out there.
I know,
So
but you know, I don't know. Closer is one of them songs that I've heard it so many times. I get kind of bored with it. I think, and
oh
I'd much
yeah.
rather play like Sanctified or something like that. You know.
I mean, it's yeah. I mean, the initial thrill of it is gone from when you were young and you first heard it for the first time, and you're like, it was something so dirty and mysterious, and you're like, what the fuck is this? But I mean, it's still.
I personally, I think "Sanctified" is a better song than "Closer," anyways. So,
I don't know. I mean, if someone puts Closer on a party, I am fucking gonna be in that dance floor. But
Closer is the popular song, and the beat for Closer. I mean, wow, it's a really really excellent tempo, and like I think it kind of stands aside from all the rest of the feel of the rest of the songs in a lot of ways. Um, but I love a lot of those rock songs, like, and I also like Piggy. I think
mhm.
that song doesn't get the respect it deserves.
Yeah, it's not a bad song, really isn't. But I don't know. I just couldn't get into it like as much as I wanted to, because I mean, normally I see a song that says like it has the word pig in it, and I'm like, okay, these are usually good songs, just because that word usually makes good songs. But it just didn't. It didn't draw me in like I wanted it to.
Some of the lyrics I like nothing can stop me now because I don't care anymore. Like some of those, they're like anthemy kind of things. I like it. I just love that whole album so much, and so there's nothing I could say bad about it. Some of the other albums I don't necessarily feel that way. And in fact, you had brought up the Marilyn Manson album, but I really like Antichrist Superstar a lot. That's one of my
Mm,
favorite albums. Like
I
this particular album, I like, but not as much as Antichrist Superstar. I love that album.
well, okay. I guess it's that time then. I guess it's time was up to my album because I mean, I actually had a hard time deciding this week what I wanted to bring originally. Because I apparently missed what I was ended up bringing in the original list. I was looking at albums from that year because we've done 94 shows before. I know we have because I brought on some of the albums from that year, and it's a good fucking year for music. It really, to some degree, it is. To some degree, it just isn't. But it's also like a weird year because there's a lot of bands that were like just about to start that are huge now, and like it was all the bands before that were broken up or disbanding before that. It was a weird year. Um, but I decided to. I almost brought War. I almost brought War to CJ's dismay. I almost brought War. Uh, Earth, Earth this shithole, or whatever the hell it's called. I almost brought that album, but I decided then right before I was gonna send it to him, I saw an album on the list, and I'm like, no. I'm like, this album came out that year. I didn't even think about that. I thought it was like '91 or '92, but I was like, all right, fuck it. Um, and it's kind of got a familiar theme to go along with Nine Inch Nails. I'm like, let's bring Manson's Portrait of an American Family. Um, it's because, well, one, Trent and Marilyn have a very coagulated past, I'll say.
Sure.
Because I mean, they started out together. Like Trent was in the band with Marilyn originally, and
We worked
he's
on that album a bunch.
oh yeah, which you can hear. I mean, you can hear the similarities between two albums 100%. But it seems like Trent wanted to go more electronic, and like he knew it at that point, even that he wanted to go more electronic. And
Right.
I think that's what I think that's kind of like besides just their attitude, besides their general attitudes in life. I think it's kind of what pushed them apart. Because
I
I
can
mean,
see
neither
that.
from what I've heard, neither of them is easy to work with. But
Sure.
um, I've heard they're both great guys, but I've heard they're not easy to work with. And you know, to me, this is one of the best albums that Marilyn Manson ever did. And I know I get a lot of shit for. I haven't brought Antichrist yet. I get a lot of shit for that. Every time I bring a Manson, everybody's like, "Why didn't you bring Antichrist Superstar?" I'm like, "Because it's too obvious the choice." Like everybody
Yeah.
knows that album is pure gold and is one of the best albums of the '90s, possibly all time. So
Yes.
I mean, it's a amazing album. It was. You want to talk anarchy? That album is the purest anarchy album ever against the societal norms. But I I wanted to bring up Portrait of American Family because I hadn't brought it on yet. And I was kind of pissed at myself for not bringing it on yet at that point too. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I should bring this on. It lines up because Trent did do a lot of the production on it and some of the guitar, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, it launched him. It launched Marilyn. I mean, well, it sounds very similar to downward spiral, but it's just Maryland stuck more with just the pure industrial rock, like sounding like grinders and graters and everything else in a garage just going at once in the background. Like it's the sound effects he uses on his albums is so fucking incredible. And all the voices and everything that he does and his other bandmates do too are just they add to the album so much. But so yeah, I love this album. I had to bring it. It's about time it got in the damn show. But uh so what do you think about Portrait of an American Family there, other Jeremy?
I do like the album. Um, I thought similar to you. It's you can hear a lot of that similar kind of Nine Inch Nails sound in a lot of the structure and the way that the songs are, and at least maybe my favorite songs that are on there. I like a couple of the songs. I don't like the whole album. You know, most of the songs to me they're okay. Um, some of them are borderline to where like, oh, I wouldn't really listen to that song. Um, but some of the songs are great, and like what is it? Get a gun song. I think Get Your Gun. That song is good. I like the Cake and Sodomy song. Lunchbox. Those are my three like most favorite ones. And then I have two other ones on there. Let me see. I'll get the list out. The other two were Misery Machine and Wrapped in Plastic. I thought the riff on Wrapped in Plastic was cool. But to me, Marilyn Manson is Antichrist Superstar. And, you know, that's the sound I really, really love from
Yeah,
him.
yeah, he had to get the following this album produced first in order to do that album. So
Yeah. Now, like I said, a few of these songs, you can hear the beginnings of it. You're like, oh, that's a rockin' song, you know?
if you read his autobiography, well, his biography, what was it called? Long something road to hell. It's a
Long
song
Road
too.
Out of Hell.
Long road out of hell. Yeah, like it's a fucking song too. He made it
Right.
into a song. Um, like it. He spends a lot of chapters talking about this album and like what each song like meant to him and like where he got the idea for it. And this album means a fucking lot to him. It always has. I I would love to see him perform it live, like the whole album. I really would. It'd be an awesome show if he actually went back and did like a full album show. I don't think he has ever really done those, but it'd be cool if he did originally go back to some of the original albums. But CJ, what do you think of a Portrait of American Family? I know Marilyn Manson and you have a relationship,
Yeah,
but
like I don't like the stuff he did at the beginning, but then like Mechanical Animals, Hollywood, that middle section where Tim Skold was in the band was really melodic and really good. And then he did a few that were bad again, and then the last two, were like really good again. So Manson's kind of always been sort of up and down with me. Um, this has got its moments. You know, there's a few songs on here that shine, that show you that why he became popular and all that, but he hadn't quite really hit his stride yet as
oh,
far as like with the melodies and the
mm,
you know the some of the vocal stuff that he can do better. So
yeah. I mean, in '91 he went to Florida to get into that industrial grunge scene, and the guy who ended up signing him said like he went to the bar and there was just all these teenagers that looked exactly like him, dressed just like him, listening to him, and he was like, okay, this guy has a crowd. Obviously, this guy has a type of following. So he's like, we could fucking work with this. And yeah, I mean, every artist takes some shining and polishing to get to where you need to be. Usually, there's very few perfect people out of the gate, but uh, his lyrics. That's what always drove me into his early stuff. Is his lyrics are so hitting on society perfectly. Like they reflect '90s society so perfectly in the way people think. Uh, I only did two honorable mentions for this one. I could have went a lot further, but I was trying to limit myself a little bit. But actually, I this is the first time I ever listened to this album with headphones on. I think, and it actually was a completely new, different listening experience than hearing it like in car speakers or hearing it like in computer speakers. So, organ grinder, I put as an honorable mention. I freaking that's kind of I never really liked that song in the past, but hearing it with headphones, like you hear like all the like distinct stuff in the background, and you're like, this is actually a really good song. And well, I mean his lyrics always. Well, I wear this fucking mask because you can't understand me. Like, yeah, okay, I felt that in the past. I feel that. I feel that to the current. So fuck yeah. I mean, that's a. I feel like everybody said it today with politics. So, and the other honorable mention I had, which was another new discovery, kind of, was Wrapped in Plastic. I know I've heard it before. Yep. I know I've heard Wrapped in Plastic before, but it sounded so different with headphones. It kind of blew me away how good it was. And you're right, that riff. Oh my god. Like, and
Good
I
riff.
mean, yeah. What's his name? Gingerfish, I think his name is. Like, he's really good. Good. He's a great guitar player. So is Twiggy. But um, the righteous fathers wear the yellowest grin. That's so true. Like,
Other
that's such a
guitar player was Daisy Berkowitz.
Daisy
Twiggy was
Berkowitz. Yeah. Right.
sadly Daisy died.
Yeah. Well, actually, in the good news, him and Tim Skull are back together again. They're putting out a new album.
Oh, that's cool. I love Tim Skull. Tim is
Well, he's
such a grossly underrated songwriter and performer. Like,
I love
starting out with Shotgun Messiah, and then the solo record he did. Then he was with Manson, and then KMFDM, and
I love the stuff he's done. I love the stuff he's done recently with like Motionless in White and Falling in Reverse.
Yeah,
like
Tim is. Yeah.
But my number 5 was Dope Hat, because Dope Hat's always been an amazing song. The video for it is so freaking creepy and amazing for early '90s. Like, it just signifies '90s. My number 4 is Get Your Gun, which it's an okay song, but I kind of like the story behind it more, because he wrote about an abortion doctor with the last name Gun, and the doctor got shot by a protester. So it was kind of like a play on words, get your gun. So, I mean, and plus there was a lot of talk about firearm shit back then. So it was right on topic. Number 3 for me was Snake Eyes and Sissies, which I never really liked that song till today, but that guitar is so good in that song, and the lyrics are fun. And I like Manson's singing style in that song a lot. It really like points towards his future stuff. My top 2 were always gonna be my top 2. I knew that. Number 2 is Cake and Sodomy. The fact he fucking wrote it while watching like a infomercial for a preacher on TV, and the preacher looked like he has like some shit above his lip, so like literal shit. So that's what he ended up writing the song about. I mean, who doesn't love the fucking chorus of "White trash, get down on your knees. It's time for cake and sodomy." Like, it's such anarchy. I love it. It's such a freaking rebel. And my number 1 has to be Dogma. I mean, Kevin Smith jokes aside there, Dogma is a fucking amazing freaking song, and just the spirit and the lines in it. Like, you cannot sedate all the things you hate. I still use that line to this day when I'm talking to people and arguing about things. Like, that's a perfect line. Always will be. Like, you can't just stop something because you don't like it. Like, it's not the way the world works. It's, I don't know. I feel like Manson. I feel like that's one of his best songs he ever wrote. Really, he kept it simple and he kept it fucking perfect. Like, and his voice, like, that's really when like one of the first songs he really screams on, and it's freaking amazing. Like, it got him down to the point where he was screaming later songs. But what were your top 5 for Manson, CJ, or whatever you had top 4?
I have top 3. Top 3 is Dope Hat. 2 is Dogma. My favorite one offhand is the song "My Monkey." I like that song. Like, it has this weird sort of carnival organ grinder type of sound to it, and so.
Which, yeah, I mean, if I threw another honorable mention on my list, it would have been "My Monkey." It's a classic. It's a classic Manson song. And yeah, I mean, because if you look at, it's funny because if you look at him back then, especially, like, he looked like he belonged in a sideshow with like an actual organ grinding monkey. So he
That
looked like
was part of the thing. Like before he had Marilyn Manson, when they were spooky kids, that was part of the thing, is they wanted it to be the sort of the circus atmosphere.
well, yeah, that's why they all cross dress to begin with too. But which I mean, I still have it somewhere. Freaking poster I had on my wall since I was in high school of like all five of them like in their freaking like Sunday dresses. It's freaking. It always made people stop and stare at when they came in my room for the first time. Like, what the fuck? What are you into? But I don't know. I think Portrait of an American Family is there. I probably could put it in my top 50 albums of all time. It really, to me, is just such a perfect piece. Like all set, and I don't know. It's more my style than Nine Inch Nails is. Just Nine Inch Nails is just too drawn out. Manson's always been to the point. Like I'm gonna say what I want to say and get the fuck off this mic. Like that's always been his style. He rarely does like those long ass songs unless it's like Misery Machine, where like it's silent or just a phone ringing for like 10 minutes. So, but
Yeah, there was that one song where the phone rings for however long it
that
is.
that's Misery Machine. That's the last song on the track. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
on the album. Yeah, it's
That's just like an industrial thing to do weird stuff like that and to have, annoying sounds and
I had one. I had one. It is. It really is. I mean, but it, some of the stuff he used in that first album was freaking hilarious. But I it's it's funny. I actually had tickets to see him live once in 2009. I had tickets to see him and Slayer live in New York City, and my parents wouldn't let me fucking go because they didn't want me driving to New York City by myself because I was like fucking. I think I actually no, it was like 2006. I was still in high school. Yeah, I was like 17. They didn't want me driving to New York City by myself because it was like a 2 hour drive each way. So they were like, "Oh, you can't go." I'm like, "You paid for the fucking ticket." They're like, "I don't care. You can't go." I'm like, "God damn it!" I'm like, "I would have been one of the most amazing shows ever."
Ugh.
I wasn't even that big a Slayer fan at the time, but I still would have loved seeing Slayer live. Just
Slayer?
Raining Blood.
Yeah, come on.
Just Raining Blood. I would just love to see Raining Blood live. But CJ, this is all right. Time to go into the thing I don't know about. What did you want to bring us today?
So I went into my list for this because one brought Nine Inch Nails and one had Manson. So I wanted to do something that was kind of, a bit on the industrial side. Um, so I went down my list and, London After Midnight, Latex Twins, um, my laundry list of Terror Groot and, Blasuit Nord and all the bands that I listen to in this genre. But I settled on this band because I wanted to bring them on for a while. I haven't really had a good chance to. They're an Italian band from Rome. They're called Dope Stars Incorporated, and they're sort of a cyberpunk industrial, um, sort of the brainchild of Victor Love. Um, Victor is to Dope Stars sort of what Chris is to Lords of the Lost. There are other members, but it's sort of his
Yeah,
band, his baby. Um, very much a sort of a cyberwave, cybernetic aesthetic. But also Victor is a huge fan of Hanoi Rocks and him. So there's also that Finnish melodic influence. And I'm a huge fan of Dope Stars. The record I have coming out on my birthday is hugely influenced by their style. So, you know, I brought their third record. It's called 21st Century Slave. And basically, sort of a concept record. Victor writes a lot of stuff about, humanity being lulled to sleep by technology and becoming over dependent on computers and stuff like that. So a lot of the stuff he wrote 10, 12 years ago is sort of becoming almost prophetic with
I was gonna
modern
say,
stuff.
I was gonna say it's very 1984ish, but
Yeah. um,
uh, but
and I
before
don't think he intended it to be that way. I think he was just kind of writing from
the
what he
heart,
saw happening.
yeah.
And but anyways, I really love this record, and I wish more people knew about them. They don't tour a lot. They haven't released a record since 2000 and I think 16. Um, he's done a couple solo records. He's also part of the group Master Boot Record. If you've never heard of them, um, they're really Master Boot Record. You just kind of have to hear to understand. Like they do shit that's um, like if Metallica was a chip tune synthwave type band, that's kind of what Master Boot Record is.
Now you have my attention. Um,
Yeah, their Master Boot Record is fucking amazing, but there's no lyrics, there's no vocals. It's just
oh,
like
you've lost.
if you took old Atari type, if you took old Atari type music and then beefed it up with like Metallica type guitars and drums, and then added like this synthwave element to it, that's kind of what Master Boot Record does. Um, you know, and all of their things are based on like computer systems, like DOS and Amiga Sector 12 and shit like that. It's really hard to describe them properly. Like you got to hear them to kind of get the picture of what they do, But
I
Victor's
I,
part of that, so
I will check them out. But you kind of lost my attention when you said no lyrics. I was like, oh,
yeah, it's instrumental stuff, but
I don't. I don't want instrumental unless I'm fucking listening to like a video game and it's background music. Like that's what I want instrumental. Give me an
that's
Assassin's
kind of what it's for.
Give me an Assassin's Creed soundtrack all day if I'm playing video games. Don't give. I mean, but not. I don't want to listen to that while I'm sitting at work. But what did you think of Dope Star Inc. there, Jeremy?
Well, there were a couple songs that I thought were all right. This all brings me back to kind of what I started with, where I think it's important that everybody enjoys music, and not everybody's going to enjoy the same music. And to me, this is kind of like a little too angsty teen, like vocals, and like it kind of sounded like to me like Fallout Boy trying to play like uh something heavy, like Fear Factory, but not quite like Fear Factory.
I
And
I
uh,
I can hear that actually. I can hear the
it,
Fallout Boy thing.
like it's just the vocals are very like screamy, angsty, kind of. They sound youthful. They sound like a young person. Um, and like the songs that I liked, I felt like they had a positive message. I can get behind the lyrics. Like I get a lot of the appeal in that way. It was more musically and just the way that it sounded that wasn't my favorite.
Well, I never heard of this band, CJ. I,
Most
oh,
people
okay.
haven't.
I take that back. I heard the name before. I couldn't. It took me a minute to realize where I knew them from, but I knew the name of the band. I never heard the band by themselves, and I was like, "Oh, okay." So I put it on, and after I listened to Nine Inch Nails, I put them on completely like night and day. But I mean, it kind of reminded me if it was just it kind of reminded me as if Swollen Members became a metal band. That's kind of what their style reminded me of. Like
Mm,
if
okay.
instead of rapping, they sang like fully. And I'll get to that in one of the songs, especially. But I mean, I just really that's what I kind of heard, and it kind of is like a precursor to like Falling in Reverse and Motionless in White and Ice Nine Kills. Like it's kind of a precursor to their music. like in a way. But also, the closest band I could identify to, because I was trying to explain to a coworker today, the closest band I could explain it to was Electric Callboy. That's the closest band I can
Yeah.
get to. That's the closest band I can get to describe it to, and which I love. I like Electric Callboy a lot. So I mean, that's not a bad thing to me because I love Techno Train and Arrow of Love, and we got the moves, like freaking amazing songs. So this band I like. I followed them on Spotify because I want to hear the rest of the stuff they've done. But I enjoyed it overall. I enjoyed it. When it first came out, I was like, oh god, what the fuck did you give me, CJ? And then I was like, as it played more and more, I'm like, all right, I'm digging it now. I'm digging it. The lyrics are amazing, and the music I can actually kind of dig. It's kind of techno-y, kind of like techno metal, which I don't hate. I don't hate it. It's kind of like Linkin Park's newer stuff, like in a way, like well, their middle stuff that they came back with. But it kind of reminds me of that a little bit too, without the rap. Uh, but what were your top tracks off this one, CJ?
I have 4. Number 4 is Omega Drones. 3 is Criminal Intents. 1 is It's For You. But my favorite song by this band has always been When I See You Smile. It's a different kind of track for them. It's kind of gets away from the sort of industrial side, and it just has like a normal piano type of track. It's almost like a ballad.
That's why I couldn't do that song, because I was thinking of that classic rock song, When I See Her Smile. Like that's what it brought. I immediately I saw the name. That's what it brought me to. And then the whole song. That's all I heard is that song. I'm like, oh god. I couldn't get in that song. But what were your top songs for them for Dope Star Inc. there, Jeremy?
Let me pull that up. Okay. It's Today, Neuromantics, Outlaw Thrones, Omega Drones, and Criminal Intents. And I had a honorable mention for It's For You. I thought that was a very different kind of sound, and I like that. I like when a band does something different.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, okay, I didn't say that. I didn't say it, CJ. But where I know them from, you've already mentioned them. It's Lord of the Lost. They did a remix of one of his songs with him on one of his albums. So I looked at the stuff that cause whenever I know an artist's name, I always like go down to the bottom of Spotify and I'm like appears on. And I'm like looking like, okay, who the fuck do I know that they appear on? I'm like,
I know. Victor
oh,
and Chris are friends.
yeah.
They actually toured together at one point. I think it was when they did the Terrapunk record. Them and Lord of the Lost did toured together.
It probably was the album that, I mean, same as him touring with Wednesday 13 right now, and Wednesday 13 is the first single off his new album. So probably that's usually the way Lord of the Lost does things, is he tours with people he does singles with. But yeah, he didn't tour within Temptation, because I would have fucking made sure I was at that show. But I had top 5 for it. I didn't have any honorable mentions, but number 5 was 21st Century Slave. I like the theme behind that song. It was a very true song. Still is, kind of. But number 4 kind of relates to it, is Megacorpse. That song is so fucking true as well, and the freaking music in that is amazing. Number 3 was It's Today. That's a really fun song. Like it's kind of like, it's today. What's today? But it's a fun song. My number 2, and this is the one that made me think of Small Members. My number 2 is Digital Warriors. Kind of has like Small Member sounding music in a way, but. And my number 1, which this song blew me the fuck away. It might be one of my new favorite songs, Criminal Intents. Just the music in that song is so fucking good. And the singing is perfect in that song as well. I was so pissed there was no music video for that song. I wanted a music video. But then we did a music video for, I think, This Song Is For You, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think like the very first track was. They haven't done a whole lot of videos, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because you would think, it would be in their wheelhouse, but
not everybody's Lord of the Lost and puts out 5 fucking videos for every album. But I mean, God, that guy has more videos than any band I've ever seen in my life. But well, yeah, I enjoyed it overall. It was a really good album. I can't wait to see what else they've done. Uh, I almost thought you brought him just because of Lord of the Lost thing. I figured you.
No, I didn't really think about that. I was just trying to get something that was sort of in the same style but melodic. Um, you know, London After Midnight can get a bit drony sometimes, and Latex Twins is a bit, whatever. Um, not everybody enjoys them, and there were other bands that, there was a couple I wanted, but their songs are all in German, and I was kind of like, I really wanted to bring the Blues Blossat Nord one, but it's all in German, and I know not everybody knows German.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to force somebody to listen to a record that's all in German.
I think the most impressive concert I ever went to was Rammstein.
See, then you'd like Blossat Nord, because they're very much like Rammstein. They're a little bit more on the romantic side than,
I see.
but like musically, they're very, very similar to Rammstein. They have that, heavy industrial don't sound.
Yeah.
So
Live, Rammstein was amazing. Like,
yeah,
unbelievable show.
I was almost gonna say, like, that's why I'm happy no one brought Rammstein in the show yet. But there's a lot of bands I wish I could listen to, but they're in different languages and I really can't. Fewer Schwans, like, I wish I could listen to them, but most of their songs are in fucking German. So
I'm bringing. You give me the chance. Melissa just released her solo record.
I know she did. Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm bringing that record on. That
I like these Australian kids when a few years ago called Alien Weaponry. They had some songs in like Australian or Maori or something.
Oh, they're actually from New Zealand.
New Zealand, that's what it was.
Yeah, they're Maui.
Yeah, that's what it was.
You say that Maori?
Maori.
Yeah.
They were heavy.
Yeah, they're really, really good. For sure. I love them.
Well, folks, there you go. We went back, well, mostly to a 90s theme, and we did a fun fucking show with 3 great albums. And we were saying last week that we hope we get out of the hip hop world for the next episode, and we fucking achieved that. So yay! We've been in hip hop mode for like 3 episodes in a row, and it was like getting a little old. But as much as we love hip hop, it gets old sometimes if you do the same thing. It goes the same way if we do 3 metal freaking shows in a row. Which, if the guest next week is still bringing the album she wanted to bring, it's not going to be either of those things. So, well, let's just say we'll just say we might be going back to black. But yeah, I know I feel the same way. But folks, Jeremy, where can they find you? Where can they find everything you're up to?
Yeah, so I have a website, theskyisland.com. What was that?
He said back to black. I was like, I really hope that's an AC/DC reference and not an
That's what I thought. That's where my mind went.
Unfortunately, that would be Back in Black if I said Back in Black. But
yeah. I didn't say anything because I knew I was wrong.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries. So I have a website, theskyisland.com. You can get links on there to all of my films. I'm a documentary journalist. I've made maybe 60 different movies about all kinds of different topics. Everything from diet and nutrition, like we talked about earlier, to UFOs and Bigfoot and ghosts and all kinds of crazy things.
we need to talk after this. But
yeah, go check those things out. And then I have a book on there from my mischievous past in the cannabis industry where I was selling weed and stuff out of my house and getting home invaded and robbed and crazy things happening to me. And then I threw an event where I almost got arrested, or I did get arrested in various different places around the United States and internationally. So it was a wild adventure in my youth, and now I get to go talk to people about UFOs.
Well, CJ, where can they find you?
You can find me at the website musicgodcjplane.rocks. To tie in with the other Jeremy, I was born on 420, but I've never smoked weed in my life. Most of my friends
Wow.
make fun of me about that. It's just one of them things that, you know,
It's not for everybody, but maybe
yeah,
someday you'll turn the
I am
corner.
a huge supporter of anybody that wants to do that. Um, I will be the first to fight for your right, and I did, do a lot of work in Michigan to help legalize it here on a state level. Even though federal level, it's still freaking illegal, which makes
Sure.
0 cents and it's stupid. But 420 this year, we're releasing my first full length record, which is Neon Exodus. It's a synthwave concept record. And if you want to go on any of the sites, my first single is out. It's called X Marks the Spot. It's a Gen X anthem about growing up in the 80s. It's sort of a hair metal type tune because, hey, I do everything musically. But mostly the website. That's where you can find me.
And you can find both your musers on Facebook as Squatchy Largefoot, on X and the Gram as that Juggalo Bastard, and of course, the best place always is YouTube. Everything we've ever done is on YouTube. And come back next week. See if we are driven nuts by Winehouse. But we will see you then. Till then, everybody, have a good week and go check out Jeremy's documentaries.